Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, here we have in England again more kind of madness. Okay, seems like this is what my channel's about, is about English madness. So, stay tuned, okay? Now, if you're new to my channel, this is a live and interactive show. I do radio shows and I also do videos too. Craziness all around here. I where do I start with this? I've got my coffee here. So if you're new to my channel, this is just basically it's light-hearted, but it's also quite serious. If you're interested in intuitive kind of energies, don't switch off now, because give it the benefit of the doubt here. If you are interested in serious predictions, stay tuned to this channel. What this is what I do here is we look at the headlines, and what I feel energy wise around those headlines, how this could pan out. I will try to look at that in between the lines intuitively. And also it's also live and interactive. So we're dealing with politics today, guys, which is really interesting. English politics, which again is another circus, okay, that we can sit back, kick back and enjoy the show. So hello, and please, this is live and interaction, so please put your comments. Please be kind, and don't put any rude comments at all, because you know this is a serious channel. It is a serious channel, and I'd like to keep things very kind of, so please let's be nice to each other and offer each other's you know, your own kind of take on this. So what I'm going to do is just bring up the chat here. Possibly I've got nobody. But hey, I'm a thriving channel, and I do this regular. So please subscribe to my channel so you can get regular updates and news on certain kind of issues. So this is very kind of up there in the UK. It's very prevalent that we've got a new Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. As you know, I predicted that way back that this was going to transpire. So this is something that I have predicted. I predicted Boris Johnson way before this was even thought of, and a no-deal Brexit. That's what I predicted. So let's have a look at this, because this is looking at the headlines and reading in between the lines here. So, okay, so the Daily Express, whether you read that paper or not, or whether you agree with that, that's up to you. But this is what I get from the Daily Express. Brexit. Okay. EU, the European Union, are furious at 39 billion divorce bill threat. Okay, we'll look into this. Guys, okay? And their response to that was, we will destroy. Well, I don't know whether it's a threat to Boris or the other way around, but I get, we will destroy your credit rating. I actually feel this is the European Union with their threats. What do you feel? Because I get here the European Union actually feel that they are a superpower altogether, that they rule the world. They certainly feel like they rule Europe. And you know, they actually bullied and pushed around Theresa May. with all these different kind of, and again, that they're trying this again. They're trying the same trick again here. The same trick with Boris. Is Boris going to be strong enough? Does he feel he's stronger than Theresa May? Do you feel he's stronger than Theresa May to get us through this Brexit? Let's continue with this. Please put your comments, okay? The European Union warned Britain, guys, okay, not just Boris, Britain. Oh, okay, Britain must pay the 39 billion Brexit bill, or its credit rating and future relationship with the bloc would be affected. Wow, what a threat. Well, already before he's even crossed that threshold there into being a prime minister, he's getting this threat from the European Union, who feel that they have all the power. And so the EU has warned Boris about this. So EU Budget Commissioner Gunther Oettinger fired the warning after Prime Minister Boris Johnson repeated his threat to withhold the huge sum in the event of a no-deal Brexit. Now, reading in between the lines here and using my intuitive energies, I actually pick up here that Boris thought that this would be, although he would kind of say this is not right. I know he would say this, but he thought that he would walk into number 10, and this would be, this would be a breeze. This would be a breeze, using his might, using the power of the UK. This would be a walk in the park, especially with all of these people that is backing him up, like Donald Trump is saying, Boris will get you through that Brexit deal. Well, no deal. I get no deal. No deal. So this threat here already. So this guy here, this commissioner, warning the Prime Minister, he told German newspapers, if he is serious with these statements, it would jeopardize the credit rating of the UK. It would jeopardize the credit rating of the UK. Now, please put your comments there. Do you feel these comments here? Let's continue. This commissioner, I can't pronounce his name, Guthner, Oettinger, sorry, added that refusing to cough up the money would also damage future cooperation with the EU. If that's not a threat, I don't know what is. It comes as the UK is due to quit the bloc on October the 31st. Mr. Johnson has pledged to leave with or without an arrangement, an agreement, and stepped up preparations for a no-deal Brexit. I think he's adamant about this. I think he's got the backing of Donald Trump, although it's nothing to do with England. He's a superpower. He's got this, He's got Donald Trump behind him, pushing him, get through that no deal Brexit, get away from the EU. I think that something political going on with Donald Trump and Europe there. I don't want to go into that here, but this is all kind of intertwined and inroads and all of this kind of thing. Okay, hundreds of protesters have gathered in Glasgow ahead of Mr. Johnson's first visit as Prime Minister. They held black and white posters with his face crossed out and the words "No thanks" printed in opposition to his trip. So already, before he even gets to do his kind of duties as Prime Minister, he's having to face this. Now, I feel because, Boris here, he just bungle along. He says ridiculous things, as we know. That's his character. I think he gives the impression to these powerful people in Europe, oh, what a ridiculous person he is. We're not going to have a problem with him. We will roughshod over his, this guy, Boris Johnson, is weaker. He's weaker than, and, we was getting somewhere with Theresa May. And this guy, this Boris, is weaker than Theresa May. And this is going to be easy. This is going to be easy. Okay, Mr. Johnson is due to meet Scotland's First Minister, who warned earlier that he is driving the country towards disaster. Well, I think he got on with Theresa May, or she got on. She got on, isn't it? It's female, isn't she? She got on with. I have to say, I'm not really a political person, so if I'm politically incorrect here, I do apologise. I just pick up on energies and predictions. So, driving this country towards disaster with his plans for this catastrophic no-deal Brexit. Oh, he's kind of plateful here. Yeah, it's female, isn't she? Sorry. She actually got on with Theresa May. She had good relations, although you may say not really. I still feel they actually did engage together to get things done. And now this replacement, this replacement of Boris. So we get here that this Vauxhall here has warned. Okay, the car company Vauxhall will end productions. There's lots of things going on here. These car manufacturers and Nissan and all of this kind of thing going on in the background. And Boris Johnson is pledging to leave without any kind of agreement. So he's off to Scotland, which is not welcome. He's not welcome. They actually feel that the first Prime Minister there, that this is going to be catastrophic. Okay. So Vauxhall. Okay, I'll go back to this car company here. I'm sorry about the noise outside, guys. I'm staying in a city urban area, and you know what they're like, a city urban area. I work from home here too. So I'm in a city urban area, and there is like I don't know, they fix their cars on the street. I don't know, but whatever that is outside. Vauxhall has warned the car company will end production at Ellesmere Port factory if Brexit takes it unprofitable. PSA Chief Executive Carlos Taranes said he would build a future Vauxhall Astra and Opel Astra in Southern Europe So he's going to take this to Europe, guys. So, you know, Europe are encouraging all these car companies so that England goes under, so that England goes into a recession. So these car chief people here are kind of negotiating with Europe, and they're threatening closure of the plants in Cheshire, which it would employ more than 1,000 people. Okay, Mr. Travis told the Financial Times, frankly, I would prepare to put it in Ellesmere Port, but if the conditions are bad, I cannot make it profitable, then I have to protect the rest of the company. And he will do it. He will take this to Europe, to Southern Europe. Mr. Johnson is driving the country towards disaster with his first plans of catastrophic no-deal Brexit. The Scottish First Prime Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, has warned. The SNP leader hit out as the new Prime Minister ahead of the trip to Scotland later today. She said, people of Scotland did not vote for this Tory government. They didn't vote for this new Prime Minister. They didn't vote for Brexit, and they certainly didn't vote for a catastrophic no-deal Brexit, which Boris Johnson is now planning for. Boris Johnson has formed a hardline Tory government with one aim: to take Scotland and UK out of the EU without a deal. Scotland has been ignored throughout the Brexit process, and it is now time for everyone who cares about the future of Scotland to come together to chart our own course and say to the Tories, stop driving our country towards disaster. Well, let's have a look in between the lines here intuitively. I feel that, yes, Boris Johnson did get into becoming a prime minister without really being voted in by its people. And then taking the reins of this and taking it through Brexit, which also, and I feel that he's used this Brexit, no deal Brexit, because the majority of the country voted, that was their vote, that was their say, to actually get out of Brexit. It's a no deal Brexit. And Boris Johnson is just going with this. It's going what the people, the majority of the people's votes in England was to come out of Europe. And he's what I'm getting here intuitively, he's trying to get the favour of the majority vote. The majority vote, although he's not been voted in, he is looking at a majority vote in another way, which is this no deal. So he has to get this. It's for his political gain, okay? His political ambition is to get through Brexit. Get through Brexit, because this is what the people want of England. If he does not do that, and he goes against that, he will be voted out as Prime Minister. So this is his kind of, this is his break. This is his break this is his break. Totally, this is his break of how to get Brexit through without being without being voted in. This is his, this is what he's going to he's trying to gain accolade from the public without being voted in. That's what this is. That's what it is. I have to say, are all people in the government narcissists? Because they're just out for their own personal gain. And that's how this feels. If you are coming on, and this is it is another topic. It says on the title there what the topic is. This is very top of the news here in the UK. So I do have to cover things that are important to that are going to change things for the UK. So no, Boris did not get voted in by the people, but he's going to prove to the people that he's going to get the majority vote by actually doing that, getting us out of the European Union and going with the people. Yes. Okay, so let's have a look here. He is quite charming. He is quite seductive in his manner. And he will say, I'm not seductive. I am not seductive. He has a charming manner around surrounding him. So Mr. Johnson has no plan to visit European capital to woo leaders over Brexit, according to a government source. So he's not going to go there. He's just going to do it. He's just going to do it. He's just going to get the job done. He's just going to get the job done. He's not even going to talk to them. The insider told Daily Mail, I would expect to see the Prime Minister doing a ritual tour of Europe capitals this summer for the sake of it. No, why should he do that? And I actually feel I'm kind of siding with Boris now. If he just wants to get the job done, why go around kind of, flattering all these people in Europe just to get a deal or get out? No, he doesn't need to. In his mindset, he has to do this for the people to actually vote him and feel credible of having this position. So he has to take this through a no Brexit deal. Come what may. So he's not planning to go there to woo these leaders over in Europe. He's not interested. He's not interested. Theresa May tried to do that and it didn't work. Theresa May tried to do that and it didn't work. And here we have Boris Johnson taking over the reins. So he's not going to do this ritual tour here. If they want to take the backstop out, then great. Let's get around the table. If they don't, and at the moment it seems they don't. Okay, they don't want to take the backstop out, so they want a deal. Then okay, we will crack on and prepare for no deal. I think that I'm getting intuitively here that the European Union are going to stick with their guns. They're going to say, no, we're going to keep the backstop. We're not going to budge on this, okay? But Boris is going, if you're going to do that, we're going to stick with what we promised, which is we'll go for no deal because we cannot go for this backstop here. And it's another way of the European Union having control over England, and we don't want this. We're a strong country and we don't want this. So there's all these threats here. There's all these threats. It's all about power. It's about power and control. So another source added that there may not be any significant Brexit talks until a Brussels summit on October the 17th, weeks before the UK is due to leave the EU. Okay. How is that going to pan out then, this Brussels summit? Well, I do feel that Boris has got to attend that, but he's going to take his team with him, obviously, because he'll need support to get through that. And not only that, I think he's going to power himself up to be one of the world leaders, and he's getting lots of advice how to project himself, how to communicate in a powerful way. So He's going to go there, but he's going to take this Brexit no deal. No, I get no deal. Brexit no deal. Okay, this is intuitive energy. It's not my thoughts here. If you knew my political thoughts, which I'm not, I'm kind of just, I do follow politics, but not strongly. It's nothing to do with what's going on here at all. So I'm not going to go into that. But they are going to, I get no deal, no deal, no deal all the way through this. This is because they have to do this for the people. And then that's going to make Jeremy Corbyn look weak, because he's like 1 minute, he doesn't know where he is, Jeremy Corbyn, on this. He's saying stay in the European Union. That's what he's saying. And also, that's their take on that. But he's going to make Jeremy Corbyn look like a weak, shadow leader there. So let's continue with this. Okay, so the former Tory leader, Ian Duncan Smith, said he should let them stew for a while and see if they change their minds. Yeah, you see, if Britain comes out of the EU, they do depend on, they're saying that, your credit rating will be scum when you leave the EU. Right, okay. What about all the money that we're pouring into Europe to keep all these countries afloat? And I think that's one of the reasons we want to come out, isn't it? Is so we can use that money on services in the UK and build our country. That money, I don't know how many billions. I think it said that something like 300 billion every year goes to the European Union. So that's something that could keep our country afloat. That's the way Boris is seeing this. That money can come back to the UK, and we can use that to build industry, to build jobs, to build, to make our hospitals great again. Although I won't go into the NHS, because I pick up here that intuitively they're trying to get them privatized, and that's close to my heart because I used to be a nurse. So I won't go into that. That's another thing. So if they were to go to Brussels or Paris now, it would just be another setup where we are made to look like supplicants again. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can see where Boris wants to go with this. Boris wants to go with this. He wants to look like a really strong leader. He sees the European Union now as like a threat, like a powerhouse that is threatening countries like Greece, like Portugal. They've already taken control of. It sounds like a Cold War, really, doesn't it? They've already taken control of. Without the European Union, Greece would sink, and they regret it, because they would have come out of Brexit a long time ago. They would have come out of the European Union a long time ago and kept their drachma. But they were sold this thing. They were sold this big thing idea of, not just but there's Spain, there is Portugal. I think they've all, since joining the European Union, actually suffered. And it's like a big power thing. It's a powerhouse thing. I feel Ireland has suffered since they went into the European Union. All of these countries were going bankrupt, apart from places like Germany, Switzerland. Germany, the other, I don't think Switzerland is it? No. But I do get all the other kind of Germany. Yeah, Germany is very strong. France is very strong. But the rest of them are kind of, it's a power game. Okay, so let me just go back here. Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for coming here and putting your comments here. This is about British politics, guys, and this is again another circus in the UK. So and you know, this is just I think there's this kind of what I'm picking up intuitively is that this is now seen, the European Union is now seen as a threat to the UK, and because they keep getting these threats, and a threat is a threat. Okay, to say that you are going to lose your credit rating if you come out of the EU, then what is the EU going to lose? 300 billion pounds per year. They are going to lose that. I doubt if Boris is worried about his credit rating. So anyway, all of this debacle, Boris is let's kind of summarize this, because Boris here is really knuckling down and being a powerhouse himself. He's got his cabinet. He's got his new cabinet. He's got to get out. He's got to show the British public that he can get them out of the EU. In fact, the EU and Boris are now kind of like enemies. That's how it is. Okay, I get Boris doesn't care. I'm not tiptoeing around the European Union just for them to bully us. They're not going to bully us anymore. They're not going to be the big bullies of the UK anymore. And this is what I get here from Boris. He's standing up here, and he's going to show the British public that he's not going to be bullied by the European Union. And so with all these threats here, and it goes on with lots of other kind of things here, but I'll look at this one here. But Brussels is not the only game in town. The opportunities of Brexit involves many of those growth markets of the future, from Latin America to Asia. And we have got a US president who is speaking very warmly about this country. So there is this, yeah, I think there's been a decision to say, hey, we will help you in the UK, and we will bring you some kind of trade over there from, you know, not just from Europe, from the rest of the world, And this is quite promising, because it's like these countries are quite lucrative, especially in America. I think they are very much wanting to support England. So anyway, Surgeon, which is the Scottish Prime Minister, slams reports of Johnson's 100 million ad campaign for no deal. So what? Well, it has to have some kind of campaign. Yes, it cost a lot of money. Scotland's First Minister hit out after Telegraph, the Telegraph newspaper, reported that Mr. Johnson was planning a 100 million advertising campaign to prepare for the public for a no-deal Brexit. So there is complaints of spending money here, okay. But if we're going to move out of Europe, then we are part of Europe, but we don't have the euro. We don't have the currency. So that's not going to be any different, I don't guess. But there will be preparation, and he needs to inform the government will need to inform the public of how things could change. So that is also on the table. So let's kind of sum this up now. This here, Boris Johnson is keeping away from Europe and the EU because he doesn't want to be bullied. He's keeping to his agenda, and if there's still this backstop, I think this is what I'm getting mainly here intuitively. If this backstop remains, then there will be a no deal Brexit. A no deal Brexit. If this, and how would that pan out? Well, it'd be like a Cold War between European Union and Boris and the British Prime Minister and government. It would be all out, kind of like war, not physical, not violent, but it would be like a war between. And Boris is not going to do what Theresa May did, which is toing and froing, toing and froing. He will make a firm decision. And I see him saying it's done. I see him, okay, on a podium, clapping his hands and saying very, very firmly, it's done. It is done. It is done. And as you know, just like that. And yeah, it is done. When that decision is made, I feel I see it. I do get a no deal Brexit here. I think that that the government. I feel that the government felt for Theresa May. They felt that she was being bullied. She was not just being bullied from the EU side, but also the British, the British politician side too. She was like the piggy in the middle. You see, and this is what Boris has got to show, is that he's not going to be the piggy in the middle. And I see him stood on a podium and clap his hands together and say, it is done. So let's watch out for that, guys, okay? Let's watch out for that. And he has got America, Donald Trump behind him here. And he feels, Donald Trump adores Boris Johnson. He thinks he's great. He feels that he'll get the job done. And he's also advising him on his kind of tactics of how to get things done. And I feel that Boris is taking note of that too, how to get things done. Yeah, so people are going to try to sabotage this. Certainly going to sabotage a no-deal Brexit. There's lots of British people, Scottish people who've got properties and businesses out in Europe because, at the time it was free movement. Just set up business, just set up homes. Once there's a no-deal Brexit, it will be, you can only kind of, reside, and that will be strict too. Europe are going to make that so strict, those rules. You can only stay in your homes for like 3 months of the year, and then you've got to go back to the UK. And this throws up a lot of, and they're going to do this so vehemently to get back at the UK. They're going to take all of their rights away from Europe. And Boris is like, no, we're not going to be bullied. We are going to survive this. We will get through this. This kind of European Union here is just to suck countries dry of their money. That's what I'm picking up from Boris. It's just to suck the country's money from them here. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. A little bit of a British political kind of radio show. So thank you for your comments. Let's have a look here at your comments. as a free for all here. So let's have a look. I'm just looking at your live comments, and you can see this too if you're on catch up on these comments here as they have progressed. So let's have a look. Lynn Brundle, Mr. Trump thinks the NHS should be privatised. Well, I'm sorry, but I know Mr. Trump thinks that, but also the Conservative Party have been thinking that for years. That is nothing new, okay? That is nothing new. The Conservative would love to privatise the NHS. I'm going back. I've been nursing 25, 30 years. And I'm going back when I started. That's been talking about that for years, that the Conservatives would love to privatise. And you know, that's nothing new, Lynn. Okay. So Mr. Trump thinks the NHS should privatise. And you've seen the US version of healthcare. Well, yeah, of course we want to keep. Of course we want to keep the NHS, and that's very important for people. But let's look at it. Actually, we pay a lot into our national insurance every month to pay for these services. I mean, when I was nursing, I would say that my national insurance was something like, I'd say £500 a month of national insurance I paid per month for the services that I hardly use. But it's for this free, supposed to be free, but it's not free. It's the taxpayers. We actually pay for this. We pay for the NHS. And from one person, which is me, I paid £500 per month. So can you get, like I said, can you get a healthcare deal with a private company, a private hospital for £500 per month? That would be £500 per month would actually be around $750 per month. We pay in national insurance to pay these people, you know, for our services, not just the health service, the police, you know, all the rest of it, you know, the police. So it can get spread, but also tax. The tax, I feel, gosh, I can't tell you how much tax I paid per month. I would say per week, maybe per week, £250 per week, £100 per week national insurance. So I was paying overall maybe £1,000 in tax and national insurance. So I was actually paying for a family on benefits, basically. So let's continue. Yeah, that's another thing. Okay. Patricia, Trump is not to be trusted. In November 2019, we have an election. Hopefully in 2020, we will have a new president. America wishes we had universal health care and a college. Yeah, I think the national, yeah, that's right. We don't have free colleges anymore. We used to, but now you have to pay. They used to give you grants and it was free kind of education, but not now. We have to pay. We have to pay for fees. So let's have a look. Weebird. Trump and Boris are supposed to be doing a deal after Brexit. And I think it will hit the skids when they go. Okay, I wonder what that deal is. Can you share that deal with us? Be interesting to know. Weebird, Boris Johnson is American. He's just recently given up his American citizenship because the IRS are after him for taxes. Patricia Ann Calabon. Trump refuses to show his taxes and has been bankrupt 6 times. This is probably why he will not show his taxes. All his buddies are in jail and we are trying to impeach him. Look, how can somebody be like in power like that? How can Donald Trump or somebody like that who does not pay their taxes be in power? I find that absolutely incredible. If Boris Johnson was found out that he was milking the government or he was not paying his taxes, he would be prosecuted. In fact, he possibly would be put into jail for that. So quite a serious thing. Lynn, we have a similar system in Australia. Yes, you do. Weebird, I was actually shocked to hear on the news that he was born in New York, has a dual citizenship, gave up his American side because of tax and owes the US. Absolutely shocking. That is quite shocking. So, and I'll just finish off with Weebird. Thank you, Weebird, for your amazing comments. Regarding the NHS, Yvonne, not sure what exactly, but Boris has stated that he wants people to pay to see their doctor and maybe they will appreciate the services. What does he mean by that? Well, I've just said to you that I paid around £500 a month, which is $750 to pay for services such as the NHS, such as everything, you know, and also taxes. I don't know how the national insurance, I feel, covers your hospital, your doctors, your national pension, which is nothing. You can't live on it, okay. Which covers all of that kind of thing. The taxes, I feel, pays for the police services, the roads, and all of that kind of thing. So if you think about it, would you Americans be happy? I don't know how much national insurance you pay per month, but I actually pay equivalent, or I used to, well, I'm kind of paying equivalent to $750 per month for NHS doctor surgeries and things like that, and we still have to pay for our prescriptions, which you can get in Europe. You can get over the counter prescription medication. You can just talk to the pharmacist and they will give you what you need. In the UK, you go to the doctor and then the doctor prescribes you medication. And then, yeah, some things like heart tablets, yeah, you do need to get your doctor to prescribe that. But things that you don't particularly, you can look it up and you can go and ask the pharmacy, that's a different thing. Now, for a prescription, it's £9 per prescription, per item. You have to pay. Some of these things like antidepressants, you can buy that for like for maybe $5 if you get over the counter in Europe. We have to pay £9, which is £9 is like $11, $12 per item. Which you may need about 4 items, and that could come to, you know, almost £40. That's like $60 a month. We still have to pay for the drugs. It doesn't matter how much they cost. If you bought them over the counter, every single drug, every prescription is £9, whatever it is. Okay, so it's not all free. It's not all free, guys. Okay, you can see the doctor for free. You can, if you have a problem, you can go to the hospital, you will be treated. But you still have to pay for prescriptions, and they're actually bringing in that we will have to pay to see the doctor one day. Maybe £10 per or £20 per hour or some, or for I don't know how long it takes in the doctors, maybe 20 minutes for $20 or something, £20. I think they'll bring that in next, where you will have to pay. So thank you everyone for being here, and if you're on catch up, please put your comments down below and share. And you know, if you're interested, this is like please, I will be doing these kind of shows in the future, so please subscribe, and depending how popular it is, I will continue to cover, you know, Boris Johnson and how this is going to pan out. As it pans out with this video, this radio show, I would say, yeah, Boris is definitely adamant. There'll be, you know, the EU are going to stick to their guns, and they're going to say they're going to start to bully the British government. Well, Boris is not going to be bullied, and he'll stick to his guns, and he won't even visit the EU. He doesn't care about the relations there at the present time. The main thing is to get a fair deal. And if it means no deal, it will mean no deal. Okay. And he's going to, I do feel that's what's going to happen. The EU are not going to agree with him. They feel that he's going to be a walkover, and that they will be able to bully him to take a deal. And he's not going to take a deal. He's not going to take a deal, because if he does, it's going to show the British public that he's weak. And he's not going to do that. He's not going to risk that, his reputation, for that. So it will be him standing on the podium, clapping his hands together, look out for that, okay, and him saying, it is done, it is done, okay. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, please share, please subscribe to my channel. And also, if you'd like to make a donation I'd appreciate that. You can go to my page on the front of my my main page, okay, and it's on the right hand side corner there. You can actually donate. Thank you so much, and I will see you later on. I will be coming on live later. I want to know what this split is between I did a video on Harry and Charles, his father, is now splitting, and whether there was a big fallout. So I'm going to look at that too, and I'll cover that later on, okay, today. So keep your notification bells on there, because this circus in the UK continues. And bye for now. Bye-bye.